And we want to determine, do we have fair maps right now? Because it is my priority and it is my focus on making sure that next November that we have fair maps in the state of Maryland people can vote on.
Governor Wes Moore is pushing ahead with the idea of redrawing Maryland's congressional maps mid-cycle, despite Senate President Bill Ferguson's opposition. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kai Jackson.
And I'm Mary Bubala. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost pressed the governor on this idea. She joins us live from Annapolis with the very latest. Mackenzie.
Yeah, Mary and Kai, we know that Governor Wes Moore announcing today that he plans to create this new redistricting commission, but it also comes as Senate President Bill Ferguson argues that he believes that redrawing these maps mid-cycle comes at too big of a legal risk as well as a political risk for Democrats. Meanwhile, Republicans argue that Governor Moore is taking directives from national Democrats, and they say the courts will ultimately have the final say. Governor Wes Moore is trying to keep Maryland in the national spotlight as the mid-cycle redistricting conversation continues.
I think that we need to make sure that we have fair maps in Maryland.
Despite Senate President Bill Ferguson telling his caucus members in this letter the legal and political risk was too high for Democrats to redistrict.
And for those who feel like it's a move that doesn't show a sense of leadership, my argument is it's the opposite. If we are going to stand up against what is an unprecedented attack on Maryland, we have to know that the actions that we take are on solid ground.
Governor Moore says Maryland must get involved.
This is just making sure that that the people's voices are going to be heard.
Led by U.S. Senator Angela Alsobrooks, the commission also includes former Attorney General Brian Frosh, Cumberland's mayor, who is a Republican, and designees from House Speaker Adrian Jones and Senate President Bill Ferguson.
For anyone who said they would have a problem with going to the people to determine whether they have fair maps, I guess my only answer is, what's your issue with democracy?
What do you say to them who are concerned that if this does go forward, they would be completely cut out of the representation in Congress when right now there's 30% of registered voters are Republicans in Maryland?
Well, I don't think that's the case. The point of this is not disenfranchising people. The point is enfranchising people.
So would you be okay if the map ended up being 5-3?
I just want to make sure that Maryland has fair maps come next November, and that Maryland, the representation that we are sending to Congress, is the representation that actually represents the wills, the hopes, the ambitions, and the dreams of the people of this state.
I think it's absolutely what his plan is to eliminate the lone Republican that Maryland has in Congress.
Senate Minority Leader Steve Hershey says the governor is likely getting pressure from the national Democrats to move forward with the plan.
Governor Moore loves to say that he bows down to no one, referring to President Trump. Yet he has no problem taking his redistricting marching orders from Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer's.
Governor Moore did recently have a conversation with Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, but what exactly was said?
I'll keep private conversations as private conversations.
Governor needs to back off.
Political analyst John Deedy argues the pressure from Washington is likely driving the governor's decision.
The positive is on the national stage for the governor. The negative is on the state stage. And I think that shows maybe the governor's thinking too much about the national stage and not thinking about the state stage.
Even if Marylanders get caught in a court battle.
I'd like to remind Governor Moore that 5 of the 7 justices to the Supreme Court were appointed by Governor Hogan. So he might not get the outcome that he desires.
During an interview with Fox 45 News before the governor's decision to launch a commission, Senate President Ferguson said he has a meeting this week with the governor. Have you met with the Senate president yet?
We're set to sit down this week.
When?
Sometime this week. I don't have my calendar on. Sometime this week. But I'm looking forward to sitting down.
Governor Moore also not willing to say lawmakers will not return to Annapolis this year. Are you still hoping that there's a special session to get this done, or are you willing to wait until January?
Well, I'm not hoping there's a special session, but I will say this, I'm not taking one off the table.
The governor's right to call a special session is something the Senate president says he does recognize.
What happens if he does call it? Is there a requirement that you, as the Senate president, take up redistricting, even if you don't want to?
No, look, the governor always has the right to call a special session. At that point, it's in the hands of the presiding officers as to how things proceed. And so, I think that the governor and his team understand that, and we'll talk through those details. I suspect that we will leave in a way that is focused together in the best interest of Marylanders.
While House Speaker Adrian Jones praises the governor for creating the panel and named her representative, Senate President Ferguson says if the goal is to hear directly from Marylanders, the Senate will participate in listening sessions around the state. Right now, it's not clear when the new commission will hold public meetings. Now, timing of all of this will also be key. Senate Minority Leader Steve Hershey tells me there's already a concern that the primary election would have to be moved if this new map does in fact move forward and then is tied up in court. I also reached back out to the governor's office this afternoon trying to get more clarity on when this commission will start meeting and if they have a deadline for when they are going to call a special session or not. When it comes to the commission, the governor's office tells me no updates yet. Keep checking the website. Live in the State House, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
I'm Mary Bubala. Thank you for watching. Here's another video for you to watch. Also take some time to subscribe to our YouTube channel.